What's going on, Herd? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be actually digging into another tutorial in the drifting orient here. Now this is an easier tutorial, one that I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, you don't really need to make a tutorial on this, Black Sheep. However, you guys got to realize there's a lot of people that are still watching those old tutorials, people that are still coming into the drift game today, people that are new to drifting in general, and something like this can be very beneficial to them. Today we're going to be covering how to jump drift in GTA 5 Online. Now, if you guys are paying attention to the channel, you guys are seeing that the tracks are releasing slowly but surely, which when I release tracks, you'll ultimately see them replaced with new tracks that are not released. So today we are going to be at one of these new tracks. This is a track that I kind of developed to be a training grounds for numerous different motorsports. So yes, you have the drift tracks down here, but if you look at the wall on the outside, that's actually a track going around the entire outside. That's not what this video is about though. Today we're going to be digging into how to jump drift. We're obviously going to start at this track because it has 3 different jump drifts. We have this one, which is a little bit more exaggerated than your traditional little bump in your free mode. We have this one, which is a little bit more just like a normal bump you would see in free mode that you could find. And then we have this one, which is extremely exaggerated, coming flying off of here, ripping the handbrake and either coming in through here, or if you have the crazy speed built up and you can really get that right handbrake slide, you can come all the way around the outside and drift this entire outer edge. So 3 jump drifts, each are very much different, although the bottom 2 down here may seem very similar. However, towards the end, guys, we will go into free mode. I have 2 jump drifts, one really minimal, one real, just basic, and then I have one that's a lot more exaggerated that we will we'll visit both of them. So we'll take the skills that we learned here, and we will incorporate them into free mode. Without further ado, guys, let's get this thing started up. We're going to be coming into this. There's 3 things that, well, let's get a good example of a jump drift first off. Get a little warm up in here too. Real main things that you gotta keep in mind: speed, angle in which you're jumping off of the ramp with, and then knowing where you're coming in once you land. So using the brakes, basically your hand brake and your left trigger brakes. First off, speed. Let's show you what not enough speed is gonna look like. You're gonna come in, you're coming around, and the only way you're gonna link this up now is by doing something like that. You had to rip on your hand brake to make it look like you had the angle. And well, it's not quite what we're looking for at all. Now, what's too much speed? Sometimes it can be a little easy to come around these corners with too much speed. All right, so that was one example of too much speed. You're either gonna overshoot it. Now, another thing that you could do is just throw more angle on your jump if you're coming in with that much speed, and that will work sometimes. However, that can work against you too by slowing you down too much. So let's come in with a crazy amount of speed. We were able to make it work there. So let's go back to the basics here, guys. What are we doing? First off, the speed. You've seen the speed. You're coming in with the proper amount of speed, and that's really something you're just going to have to kind of come up with off of practice. Now, when you're practicing your speed and your entries, you're going to have the one other aspect that you really have to start getting down, and that's your angle. Notice how, well, when I come off of this, I'll just go straight off of it. You come off straight off of it. Notice that's not what I'm doing. When I'm landing, let's show an example over this. When I'm landing with a good jump drift, you're already landing in the angle you want to be at. So to do that, you need to take a slight left off the top of the ramp. So when we come up to this ramp, we're coming up, we're going to take a little bit of a left right off the top of the ramp. All right, so let's do it that way. Oh, I should add in one more thing about your takeoff at the top of the ramp. You can also do this a little bit. If you just want to do left or right, so here we're going left, you can tap the handbrake at the very top of the ramp. Sometimes it'll throw you a little bit because what you're doing in the game is if I throw a handbrake and left, it's just like that. You spin out. So if you don't like that Scandinavian flick, you don't like that right to left, you can just go left but rip the handbrake off the top of the jump. Notice how that was a lot smoother. If you use that handbrake up the ramp type of method, you can actually judge your speed a little bit more too. You can come in with any amount of speed and you can just kind of hit your handbrake earlier to slow you down if that's what you want to do. 2 different styles, 2 different techniques, but it's going to look exactly the same when you get them both down and you make them both work for you. So now let's take a look at what it looks like when you throw a Scandinavian flick in. You're going to go right and then left. There I used a little bit of left trigger, slowed myself down, handbrake slid. As soon as I got myself down to speed, we incorporated speed back in. So again, to the right, to the left, coming on around. Bring her around town. You're better off usually going in with more speed than not enough speed. That's going to give you the angle. So come in with enough speed. If you're overshooting it, just slow down slightly. If you don't want to use the Scandinavian flick, don't use it. You don't have to use it. But once you land, you got to make sure that you're keeping the vehicle in the angle. A lot of people want to straighten out right away when they do the jump drifts. Either that or they overshoot and they spin out right away. That's, I think, actually more common. Overshoot and spin out, something like this. Threw too much angle and then I spun out. And the final thing to really focus on is your landing and then moving into the drift. So here's the big key on my landings. We're taking off. As soon as I land, I'm on the handbrake. I rip the handbrake. If I'm going too fast, I'll also get on my my left trigger brake, and that'll slow me down. I'm doing all that after I land, though, okay? Not before I take off, not on the jump. Again, Scandinavian flick, come out. On the handbrake right now, before I even land, I'm on the handbrake. That way, as soon as I land, the car will start sliding. I can keep the angle, and then I can engage whatever drift technique I want, either speed boost or single gear. Handbrake slide. Oh, we got caught by the edge of the track right there. Coming up, Scandinavian flick. Handbrake right now. A little bit of left brake trigger. Made her around. Coming through. Link it up. And there you have it. All right, let's move on to the next jump drift. We got a real minuscule one. So, Scandinavian flick. Notice how I wasn't in the air very long there at all. We got in, we landed at the angle we needed to go, and kept her on rolling. And then another thing is, once you land, make sure you're on the handbrake again. Scandinavian flick, I'm on the handbrake. Oh, I should have been in left trigger a little bit sooner. I tapped it, but I didn't get on it soon enough. Coming back around the corner when I come. Handbrake slide, a little bit of left trigger, perfect angle. Coming back out, and we're off. Now that's a tiny drift. We're gonna return back to that, but here comes the huge drift. Handbrake slide coming around the corner. We held the right angle. We're going to actually, well, I meant to manji that, but we straightened out. So as you've seen right there, that was a good example of what we can cover. I didn't throw a ton of angle on it in the air, but as soon as I landed, I ripped on the handbrake and threw a little bit more angle on the ground. The way I was able to do that is by immediately being on that handbrake. Now, if you don't get on the handbrake, you're gonna have to come in with more angle. You cannot come in with shallow angle and not use the handbrake to slide. So right there was no handbrake sliding. I didn't use the handbrake at all, actually. However, you're coming in with the one amount of speed, you're getting the one angle, and you need to commit. Handbrake and left trigger brake are going to be your biggest friends with this technique. We don't need nearly that speed when we use the handbrake. Nice and easy. Now this one, you're going all balls to the walls. That's what I mean. Let's hit both of these together. Coming in with the right amount of speed. I'm going to do a little Scandinavian flick, right to left. Come around the corner. Link that up. Oh, I came in way too shallow. Let's get her anyways. Nice and easy. Real minuscule bump. Enough to fly the car in the air. Enough to get you your angle. Then we're coming up for the big one. We're going to go shallow this time. Oh, we should have powered out a little bit earlier. Coming up. Scandinavian flick. Right angle. I'm on the handbrake. Powering through. Not a ton of angle, but we made it look clean. Let's come back through. Nice and easy. A lot of slide, a lot of angle. We came in with some speed, so we just want to get all slide there. This one, we're going to go for the long one again. Perfect. And we're back. Let's get another one more clean. Scandinavian flick, right to the left. Coming around, we got a nice one there. Good angle. We held ourselves down. A little bit of left. Oh, overshot that one though. A little bit of left. I always want to call it left hand brake, but left trigger brake, and then hand brake to keep you in the slides. So the left trigger brake will slow you down when you need the slowing down. We didn't need any slowing down right there. That was a pretty good engagement. This is a pretty simple technique. I know it might sound very confusing, but when it all comes down to it, it's just the 3-4 things, depending on how you're counting them. The speed that you're coming in with, the angle that you're going to throw, and how you're going to get your angle. Are you just going to throw left or right, depending on the direction, or are you going to incorporate a little bit of Scandinavian flick? So we covered this one. This is going to get all your skills down. That size of jump drift back there is about the size you want to practice on. Once you get your skills down, come back to something small and minuscule like this, and that'll, you know, obviously let you fine-tune some of your speed and your angle stuff. Once you get that down, you're going to go into the GTA dramatic stuff like this. And this one's all about speed and angle again, and then landing and left-hand trigger or whatever you're doing. That one I was trying to get on the gray and I went to the black, so way too much angle. No Scandinavian flick. We're just going to go straight left with the handbrake right there. I'll do the same thing with this one too. Scandinavian flick this time around with a little bit of handbrake. Seen it going up the ramp there. I ripped the handbrake because I was going a little bit too quick. I think I do that every time, in all honesty. I think it's just something I don't realize I do. You don't have to do it though. So there really isn't anything different with the big jump drifts than that little tiny jump drift. It's just about how you're incorporating in the angle and how much speed you're going in. So obviously a lot more speed. I'm throwing a little bit less exaggerated at the top in hopes that we're going to go a little bit farther. We land, we get that handbrake slide. You don't have to hold the handbrake when you're going so dang quick either. Sometimes the car will just slide on its own. So you're going to have to feel that out. This is a big practice technique. You got to really get the practice in to get this thing down. This isn't just hop in and do nothing. But if you watch people do it for enough time, it helps you out a ton. Now, just incorporating in the 3 or 4 things, again, depending if you're talking left hand. I almost said it again, left hand brake. Depending if you're calling the left trigger brake and the hand brake 2 different things, which they're the same thing. They're different, yes, but they're the same thing when you're talking about it here. It's all about holding the angle and keeping the speed. Same general family, slightly different incorporations. Speed of entry, angle of entry, holding the angle, and then, of course, drifting out of it. Those are really the 4 aspects you need to keep in mind. Each jump drift is going to be slightly different. I know you guys don't have access to this track right now at this point in time. You guys will have access coming up. This will be in a drift event coming up as well on Xbox One, so keep your eyes open. Where you guys can go to practice this is in free mode or on your own tracks. I know I have my own tracks. Anawak Forest would be one of them. I know we just visited that one in the last drift event, so check that out. But what we will do right now is we will go head to free mode and we'll show you a couple jump drifts. Alright, since we spawned in here at the casino, I guess let's head on. This one's right up by the Vinewood Bowl. It's a lot closer than the other one. This is the one I kind of wanted to end it on since it's the big jump drift, but let's start it here since we're right here. It's just going to save us all some time. Alright, so this location, in case you guys don't know where it's at or you don't recognize it from previous events, it's up here by the casino. So again, we're coming in. I'm going to do a slight Scandinavian flick, not even very exaggerated at all. I'm all left trigger right there because I knew I was going to overshoot it. So this one I don't go too much Scandinavian flick. It's mainly handbrake and left. I'm flying around the corner. I judge my speed with the left trigger. A lot of handbrake on the slide as well. Come through, we incorporate that into the old drift. More speed. Left hand brake this one in. We're going to overshoot it. Damn it. Speed and angle of entry are the 2 big ones on this one, and then the left brake. The front brakes. The handbrake. All 4 of the aspects. It's really the key in all of them. Alright, so we're down by the stadium now. And this is our jump drift. It's very minuscule, as you can see, just enough to be a bump. And this is going to kind of interpret our second of the 3 jumps that we went over in our track. Usually we do a full little circle here, and you don't take this jump drift with nearly the speed that we're going to take it with today. But we're going to take this thing with some speed today. Oh, we got a jump drift, all right, but we spun out. And I got to straighten out enough to be able to go off this jump drift. I could probably use a bit of a Scandinavian flick by just continuing my left turn all the way to the ramp. Let's try that out. I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to go wide, and then I'm going to go right. So that worked. That works pretty well. Oh, there we go. We hit the damn wall. Yeah, that one's weird. Damn. Wow. Okay, that's really tough. With all that said, guys, hopefully this was helpful to you. This is probably the easiest of the actual skill-oriented tutorials in which we're going to cover. There's at least 2 more of these style. I'm not going to go into depth at what these tutorials are, so just keep your eyes peeled. And if you want to see more and you have not subscribed yet, I don't know what the hell you're doing, you better subscribe. With that said, guys, as always, hope you all stay happy out there. Please stay positive, and we will definitely speak. Tony, we will definitely speak to you next time.